It's 2 years later and I'm ready. I didn't know there was going to be media and so much here, and I might have had second thoughts. But hopefully I can get through this okay. In December 2012, Lou and I moved out of our home on Buckhorn Drive in Peoples Valley, which was put on the market as a short sale because of the unbearable financial burden we were under, and moved into the rental where we now live on unknown Mexican Avenue. At the end of May 2013, Lou and I and our 2 kids in dog suits left for an RV vacation to the East Coast, primarily to visit aging family members on both sides, all in their mid-90s, whom we believed we might not see again. This turned out to be a good decision, as 2 of those uncles have passed away during the last year, and Lou's mom just died Thursday. Lou just participated in her funeral a few hours ago in Lowell, Massachusetts. Obviously, June 30th will have an additional memory for us now. After visiting all these old folks and younger, more energetic and more fun relatives and friends, after Atlantic beaches and a boat trip on the Essex River with a lobster feast, after visiting Gettysburg, during the 150 years since the battle, we started our homeward journey. We were camped near Cleveland, Ohio. Now there's a dream come true. On the Friday night that the fire began. Since Lou was and is a member of the Peoples Valley Fire Department, he was in contact with members of the department as soon as he was aware of the fire that could threaten our communities. On Saturday night, we were across the river from St. Louis when he again got updated on the threat and the news that the towns might have to be evacuated. We were very concerned, of course, and felt so helpless being so far away with no hope of a speedier return. The brakes on our 32-foot fifth wheel were only intermittent at that point, and we were really struggling. On Sunday afternoon, we pulled into a campground near Tulsa, Oklahoma. Lou had placed a call to Garrett's cell phone to see if the hotshots had been called out to the Yarnell Hill fire. When Garrett didn't answer, he left a message. I waited in the truck while Lou went in to register for a campsite. It was about 3:30 or 3:45 Tulsa time. His cell phone, which was lying on the seat beside me, rang as Garrett's picture blinked from the screen. "Garrett, Grandpa's in registering for a campsite. He'll be out in a few minutes. Are you on the fire in Yarnell? Grandma, you have to know that we would be on that fire." He laughed that I could think otherwise. He said, "I can see your house on Buckhorn Drive from here. We are about a quarter of a mile from Jack Rouse's house. I think most of the houses can be saved on the Buckhorn Loop with Model Creek Road providing a good break, unless you want us to stick it to Chase and let the house burn down." He laughed again, the devilish laugh. "Cut it out, Garrett. Don't be a little stinker. We have a contract on the house and the buyer is closing on Monday." "Okay then, Grandma, we'll save the house." Then he asked when we expected to get back, and I told him by Wednesday. His response was, "We'll probably still be on this fire on Wednesday." Then he said, "When you get back, Grandma, will you make cookies for me and my buds?" Wincing at the grammar, I said, "You bet I will, Garrett." He had to go then. Wanted Grandpa to call him. "I love you, Grandma." Lou returned to the truck. "Garrett called," I said. "He's on the fire and thinks they will still be there on Wednesday." He said, "Oh, I wish I was there to fight the fire with him." "Right, Lou. They're really going to let the old fat guy on the fire line with the hotshots." Lewis called Garrett back. Many of you have already heard about that phone call. He told Garrett how to get access to the house and that he and the crew could sleep there in more comfort if they wanted, as long as they didn't sleep on the pool table. Of course, they would never do any such thing. Suddenly, Garrett said, "Uh-oh, a DC-10 just dropped a load of slurry and I missed it. Gotta go to work. I love you, Grandpa." He always ended his calls with, "I love you." A few hours later on that Sunday, Lou called one of the firefighters in Peoples Valley to see how the contest with the fire was going. I don't remember having any TV on. I stood by and listened to their conversation. "We got our asses kicked today," Jake Motor said. "We lost 19. "What do you mean we lost 19? Are you telling me 19 firefighters are dead? The hotshots? The Granite Mountain hotshots? My grandson is a hotshot. Are you telling me my grandson is dead?" "They haven't released the names," Jake said quietly. In retrospect, he probably couldn't bear to tell us, and we certainly can't blame him. There was the rest of the numbing, tearful trip home. A kind RV repair shop owner in Winslow, driving to get parts and getting our brake system working enough to get home, while another client plugged our RV into his generator so the dogs and I could stay inside out of the 100-degree temperatures while he worked on the problem. We reached Prescott on July 3rd. Since Peoples Valley was still evacuated until the next day, July 4th, we camped in the last spot left at Willow Creek Campground, for free, for as long as we wanted. So it started before we ever got home. The kindnesses, the prayers, the hugs, the tears, the expressions of sympathy from everyone. There was our early admittance back into Peoples Valley, the purple ribbon around our tree from members of our fire department, and being picked up in a fire truck by our own men who barely made it out in time that Sunday to eat 4th of July dinner, a typical 4,000-calorie meal, at the incident command post with all the fire crews still battling the blaze. Then the blur of the memorial in Prescott, with the roar of the drums and the blare of the bagpipes, and all our local fire departments. Garrett's funeral by the lake, with our Peoples Valley Fire Department members arrayed alongside the hotshot buggies that had transported us from the funeral home. And then the church service held by Pastor Paul Jones at the Peoples Valley Fire Station before the Yarnell residents were allowed back to worship at their own churches. That service is where we first really felt the love and caring of the people in these communities, where we felt a real sense of belonging and sharing, where we came to the decision to start becoming involved in the Presbyterian Church and eventually the overall community that is Glen Isla, Yarnell, and Peoples Valley. We were slow to do so, wrapped up in our own loss as we were, but we treasure dearly the friends we have made, are grateful for our inclusion in projects and celebrations, and would not ever want to live anywhere else. Thank you all for letting me tell my whole story of that weekend 2 years ago for the first time.